Welcome back to Rob's Daily Classics. You know, I found this 1971 Cadillac Eldorado a little while ago on Hemmings Marketplace, best offer format. And I'm looking at this car and I'm saying, am I looking at a car for sale or am I reading a car obituary? Because who is really going to buy this car? So I started thinking, maybe I'll share this one along with the group and share you my opinions about cars like these and where these cars might be going. So let's dive in. This is a 1971 Cadillac Eldorado. The Eldorado, just so a little backstory, ran from 1952 to 2002 in 12 different generations. It's insane, right? This particular car is the start of the ninth generation, and the ninth generation ran from 1971 all the way up. I'm just diving some of these photos while I'm talking. Ran from 1971 to 78. It was built on the E-body. The E-body was shared with the Buick Riviera and the Oldsmobile Tornado. It still had the 500 cubic inch engine, 8.2 liters, which is insane, 4-barrel carburetor, 365 horsepower. That's gross rating. I think they went to net rating that year too. 535 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPMs. A motorcycle I have, one of a few, has 58 pounds of torque and things crazy. But can you imagine 535 foot-pounds of torque? The car measured 223 inches in length, or 18 and a half feet. It's scaled in at 4,828 pounds on the specifications. It's still lighter than a Cybertruck today. And the first year of the 71 actually was a record year for the Eldorados. They sold like 27,400 units in 71. So it was a real big deal when this car came out. Yeah, I mean, 0 to 60 times in 9.7 seconds, top speed of 120 miles an hour. Imagine taking this car 120 miles an hour. I mean, I guess so. You know, you probably wouldn't feel it too much, you know. And the MSRP was $7,500 in 1971, probably about as much as a Ford F-150 is today. Comparison, and the F-150 has chrome bumpers just like this car, so it's funny how things work out, right? 8 miles to the gallon. You know, it was a different time. So I'm looking at this car and I'm saying to myself, is this really something that somebody would restore and buy? Because I've worked on these old luxury cars. I've had a few Lincoln Mark IIIs. I never owned a Cadillac Eldorado. More complicated than a Lincoln, I think, with the front-wheel drive setup and all. They're big cars. You need a lot of room. You need jack stands that are not, you know, Harbor Freight issued. You need real American-made jack stands to get underneath this car. It's heavy. And, yeah, everything about these cars were pretty difficult back in those days, and now today to repair some of these cars and get into it to restore them becomes really hard. You know, this car also had, I read about this car just now, and it had fiber optic lines that went to the rear taillights, so you got a chance to see what if the taillights were operating correctly or not. And the funny thing is, when I restored my 68 and a half Lincoln Mark III, it also had the fiber optic line that went to the rear of the trunk, and that's those little lights on the Fords. I don't know if the Thunderbird, if you know those cars, the Thunderbird and the Ford, which one, Mark III, had these 4 little lights above the rearview mirror, and they were operated by a fiber optic line. Anyway, I found this little line when I was restoring the car. I go, what is this? And I realized it's fiber optic, kind of crazy, right? 1968 and a half. So looking at this car, folks, why did I go through this pain of pulling this car out? Because I'm looking at this thing, I'm saying, is this really an obituary? Is somebody not ever going to buy this car? Because even at $4,000, even at $3,000, you know, the work that's going to be needed to, now the body looks pretty good, but it's a lot of car to restore, repaint, to change that vinyl top. Even if you can do this stuff yourself, it's like labor hours. It's insane. And you just can't drive it the way it is, because when you look at the engine bay, you know, the car has some rust to it. I mean, this is the engine bay. So I'm saying, who's going to dive into this car? I mean, I had cars like, you know, you dive into that engine, you take the manifold off, you take the engine out, you work with the difficulty of the chain-driven front-wheel drive. The air conditioning probably will never work again in our lifetime. So is this really a parts car? And if it is, it's not worth $6,000 because it's probably, give it to me for free, maybe if I was working on one, but I don't think this car has any legs left. So it is kind of a sad story that this once beautiful, expensive Eldorado is now more or less, this ad is more or less an obituary. And the interior is not that bad. I guess if you were restoring the car and you needed like this, windshield wiper unit on the side of the door, or these beautiful, nice brushed aluminum type of power window switches, even this grasp handle, if you're restoring a car, you try to find that grasp handle. You can't find them. Seats are gone. All the material in the seat's probably very, very rippable. As soon as you get in there, it'll probably rip on you. Steering wheel looks, chaffed and cracked and separated. So, who's going to buy this car and work on the steering wheel? I don't know. Who's going to buy this car and try to get the air conditioning to work? I don't think there are many people out there that would do it. So, anyway, I'm thinking this car is a parts car, and it certainly isn't worth $6,000. Would somebody pay this money, $5,000 or $4,000, and get their hands dirty and get into it? I don't know. I'm thinking in the undercarriage of this car, if the engine bay looks like this, I can only imagine what the undercarriage of the car looks like. Car is based in Ohio, whatever, But it is kind of sad because, these people, I don't know if in best efforts, here's some photos of the undercarriage. Yeah, I mean, it's all 1971 underneath there, and you can see the front seals are leaking and things like that on the engine. So, if you roll up your sleeves and start getting into this car, you're much better off finding a car that's finished. Pay $10,000, $12,000, and find a car that's, really represented and really a nice car. So, again, am I starting off a new trend? Yeah, maybe I'll start off a new trend. I'll call it the Rob's Daily Classics obituary page and put cars on there that I feel that have reached their maximum life expectancy and are no longer something that we'd buy. But it is sad because these cars were amazing when they first were made. And if you owned one of these back in 1971, you were really kind of special. I mean, maybe the color wasn't special on this car, but you were making a statement if you had a Lincoln Continental Mark III at the time, or this beautiful Cadillac Eldorado, which the two of them are very competitive. They're both competing for each other. This was less money than Lincoln Mark III, by the way. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Rob's car obituary, 1971 Cadillac Eldorado. Sometimes we need to reflect, is it time or maybe not? And somebody that's listening to this channel will write back and put some comments in saying, I'll take this car and I'll pay this much money for it. And if that case, then go on Hemmings.com, make an offer, because he's asking $6,000. Good luck. And thanks very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Talk to you later. Bye.